Okay, so we're converting a PSAT standard deviation into an SAT score, okay? We're trying to find the SAT score standard deviation. So we know that the standard deviation of PSAT is 1.25. We know the variance of PSAT is 2.25, and how we did that was 1.5 times 1.5, okay? Everyone with me so far? Yes. Okay, now the one thing that we learned the other day is that okay, so it says, what is the standard deviation of the SAT math score? Well, we know we can't just go from the PSAT standard deviation to the SAT standard deviation. We're going to have to convert it to a variance. So we are going to find the variance of the SAT. And to find the variance, we are going to take b squared of our equation. So what is b in our equation? The 20 or the 10? The 10. So we're going to square that, and then we're going to multiply it by the variance of the PSAT. So you guys, this formula was written, we wrote it up underneath the rules of variances, and it's always b squared times the variance of x. It should be right here. Let me show you. We wrote it right here under a random fix. So to find the variance of the new term, we do b squared times the variance. Well, b squared was 10. The variance of the PSAT was 2.25. And now we're going to multiply that. And what does that become? 10 squared times 2.25. What? Yep, 225. But that's the variance of the SAT. The question is, what is the standard deviation? So to find the standard deviation of the SAT, we take the square root of variance, and we get 15. So again, you guys, this formula right here is b squared times the variance, okay? So b squared, b was 10. I got that from the equation, and the 2.25 I got because I squared the standard deviation. There any questions about that? We good? Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to use this formula right here. We're going to do the variances of x plus y. And remember that you always add variances whether they ask you for the sum or the difference. You always add variances, and you always deal in variances. You never deal in standard deviations. So you have to convert everything. Okay, so here we go. Suppose the equation y equals 20 plus 10x. It's the same equation we just did. It really helps if you are on the right side. So no, it's not the same equation we just did. So suppose that the standard deviation for the SAT math score is 150 points. So the standard deviation for the SAT is 150 points, and the standard deviation of the SAT verbal is 165. What is the standard deviation for the combined scores? You guys, if they ever ask you this question and it's a continuous random variable, what you do is you have to add the standard deviations together to get the new one. So what we want, again, we're finding standard deviation, but we can't deal in standard deviation, so we're going to deal in variances. So I'm going to deal with the variance of math plus verbal, right, equals the variance of math plus the variance of verbal. Not standard deviation, variance. So the math standard deviation is 150. So that would be 150 squared The verbal would be 165 squared. Anybody know what 150 squared is? I mean, I do. I have the answer written. Okay. 22,500. 165 squared is 27,225. And that equals 49,725. But what is that? What is that number? What?
Variance.
That's the variance, but that's not what the question asked. The question asked, what is the standard deviation for the combined SAT scores? So what do I have to do with the variance? I need to take the square root of it. So to find the variance of the math plus the, to find the standard deviation, you're going to take the square root of 49,725, and what do you get?
222.99.
Really? Why do I have 223? Maybe I rounded. I can't believe that I would round to a whole number. Maybe it's because it's so large. Yep. Oh, because the 9 makes the, I don't know why I rounded up. But I guess it was 22.29 because standard deviations and SATs are whole numbers. So there you go. That's your answer. So again, add variances to find standard deviation. So that's the end of that. Now, if it combines these, you guys, and you have a continuous random variable, what you would do is you would add the variances, find the new standard deviation, and that's what you would use if you have to combine it. Okay, because this, usually with a combining, you can use this for continuous random variables. Okay. So now what I want to do is, of course, I want to do some practice problems because those are important. So get out a piece of paper and let's do this thing. Okay.